This is the video tutorial for quiz section 3.4. We'll start here with number 1, solving the system in 3 variables. In order to do this, I've got to start eliminating variables using the pairs. So I chose to use A and B first. I didn't have to use all 3 of them, but I'm going to use A and B first. The reason I chose to do A and B is because I'm going to eliminate my Z, and the Z and a negative Z will cancel. So I'm going to start there with the A and B and use C in the next one. Alright, so when I work these, I have to combine them. So when I combine them, the Z and the negative Z will cancel each other. And then I just combine the others. So 1x plus 1x is 2x. 1y plus 1y is 2y. And 4 plus 4 is 8. And that is my first new equation. So now that I have that one, I now have to use equation C. So equation C is 3x plus 3y plus z equals 12. Alright, now I can use either A or B. I'm going to use B because it has the negative z that'll easily cancel without having to change anything. So B is x plus y minus z equals 4. So now that I have my 2 equations together, I've used A and B the first time, I'm using C and B this time. I have a positive z and a negative z which will cancel each other, so I'm going to go ahead and combine them. So positive z and negative z cancel. 3x plus 1x is 4x. 3y plus 1y is 4y. And then 12 plus 4 is 16. And that is my second new equation. So now I have my 2 new equations. I'm going to bring the 2 together. So I'm going to bring equation 1 up here with this one since I have a little more room on this side. So bring the first equation up. So that's going to go 2x plus 2y equals 8. And I need to pick a variable to eliminate. I'm going to eliminate the x. In order to eliminate the x, I need to multiply the bottom equation here by a negative 2. I'm going to leave the top one the same. Don't have to worry about changing anything on it. So then that's going to go 4x plus 4y equals 16. And then the bottom equation is going to distribute that negative 2 to everything. So negative 2 times 2x is a negative 4x. Negative 2 times 2y is a negative 4y. Negative 2 times 8 is a negative 16. So now that I've set up the x's so they'll cancel, 4x and a negative 4x will cancel. 4y and negative 4y also cancels. So both variables eliminated and left me with 0. 16 and negative 16 will also cancel, so that leaves me with 0 equals 0. So now in this problem, all of our variables have eliminated, and that leaves us with a true statement. Since our variables eliminated and left us with a true statement, our solution is infinite solution. Anytime you get a variables eliminate and it gives you a true statement, it's infinite solutions. Had they eliminated and gave us a false statement, it would have been no solution. And that is infinite solution is this answer for problem number 1. We'll now move on to number 2. On number 2, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to eliminate the x. So I've chose to use A and B first. So I'm going to eliminate the x. Since I have a 2x on top, I'm going to multiply the bottom one by 2. That way it'll be a negative 2x. So I'm going to leave the first one, leave A, B. Not going to change A at all, so I'm just going to leave it as 2x minus y plus 2z equals a negative 7. And then on the second equation, on equation B, I'm going to distribute that 2 that I multiplied by everything. So 2 times negative x is negative 2x. 2 times 2y is a positive 4y. 2 times negative 4z is a negative 8z. And then 2 times 5 is 10. So now that I've got that 2x and negative 2x set up to cancel, I'm going to go ahead and combine them. So 2x and negative 2x cancels. Negative y, 1y, and positive 4y is 3y. 2z and negative 8z is a negative 6z. And then 10 and negative 7 gives us 3. And that is your first equation, first new equation. So now that we got our first new equation, we move on to our second new equation, which in order to get that, I have to use equation C. So I'm going to use equation C, which is x plus 4y minus 6z equals a negative 1. And make sure you get everything copied down correctly, because if you don't, you'll end up doing all the work for an error early in the problem. I'm going to use b because I still need to eliminate my x, and b is a negative x, so that will easily cancel. So negative x plus 2y minus 4z, and that equals 5. So now that I have them set up, I can go ahead and combine them. So the x and the negative x will cancel each other. 4y plus 2y is 6y. Negative 6z and negative 4z gives us a negative 10z. And then we have a negative 1 and a positive 5, which gives us 4. So now we have a setup so that we can go ahead, and that is equation 2, and bring our two equations together. Since I have room here, I'm going to bring this first equation over here with this second equation. Alright, so my first equation was 3y minus 6z equals 3. Alright, I want to get rid of the y because I think it's going to be easiest to change. Since I have a 6y on top, I can change the bottom, multiply the bottom by negative 2 to make that a negative 6y. So I'm going to leave the second equation as 6y minus 10z equals 4. And then when I distribute that, negative 2 times 3y is negative 6y. Negative 2 times negative 6 is a positive 12z. And negative 2 times 3 is a negative 6. So now that I've distributed that 2, I can go ahead and combine them. So 6y and negative 6y cancels. Negative 10z and positive 12z gives us 2z equals, and then 4 and negative 6 is a negative 2. So now that I've got the 2z, I go ahead and solve for z. So divide by 2, divide by 2. The z's will cancel. So the 2's cancel, and that leaves us with z equals negative 2 divided by 2 is a negative 1. And that will be your answer for z. But we now need to find out what x and y are. Since I know what z is, I'm going to substitute that back in over here for equation 1. Okay, substitute back in over here for equation 1. So I'm going to leave that as 3y minus 6. And instead of having that 6 times z, I'm going to change that. I'm going to substitute for that z. I'm going to let that z be a negative 1. Just like that. And then that's going to equal 3. So now I'll go ahead and I'll work that out. So it's going to go 3y. Negative 6 times negative 1 is a positive 6 equals 3. And then I just solve for y. So it's going to go minus 6 minus 6. 6 is cancel. And that leaves you with 3y equals 3 minus 6 is a negative 3. And then the last step is divide by 3 and divide by 3. So that leaves us with y equals negative 3 divided by 3 is a negative 1. And that's your answer for y. So now that we know what y is and we know what z is, we now choose one of the equations, a, b, or c, one of the original equations, substitute back in. I want to use a. So I'm going to use equation a because x is already by itself. So it's going to go x plus 4y. I'm going to replace that y with a negative 1. And then it's minus 6z. And I'm going to replace that z with a negative 1. And then it equals negative 1. So it's going to go x. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Negative 6 times negative 1 is a positive 6. And that equals 1. So negative 4 plus 6 is x plus 2 equals negative 1. Forgot my negative there. Equals a negative 1. So then to solve, all I do is I go minus 2, and that gives me x. And that will give me x equals negative 1 and negative 2 gives us a negative 3. So now we know what x equals. So now we know x, we know y, we know z. So when you write your answer, put it right here. Our x is a negative 3. Our y is a negative 1. And our z is a negative 1. And that is your answer for number 2. And that we'll now move on to number 3. Now with number 3, the first thing we have to do is we have to write the system that matches the given information. So I'm going to let the variables be. So for pizza, it says Pizza Shop has 2 small pizzas, a liter of soda, and a salad costs $14. So I'm going to let the pizzas be P. I'm going to let the sodas be L. And I'm going to let the salad be S. So I'm going to let those be my variables for each one. So now I'm going to set up the system. It says 2 small pizzas. So that would be 2P plus